Okay, here's my next rosewood crotch that I'm going to turn into a 17-inch circle, and I've got it ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and start. Oh, there we go. It's all cut. Obviously, there's some very low spots on the sides, but this will be the bottom, so it'll be tapered. So I'm sure I'll end up with some natural edge features similar to what I did with the other bowl. The other thing that's of interest is I do have cracks in this bowl. You can see them. There's one there, one there. I'll have to repair those. There's several over here. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And obviously there's no use in repairing it until I get machined some. So, okay, so there we go. Okay, I'm getting ready to start turning this. You can see it's mounted and it just gets on the camera. I had to back the camera up a little bit to get it so that it's always on in frame. Well, I have made some progress. You can see the cracks I'm going to have to repair. There's one here, and one long one here. So once I remove some wood, we'll see how far it goes. I mean, on the side, this crack here doesn't go, I don't know, an inch or so this way. So there's 3 inches of wood with no crack. So, I mean, I should be good. Okay, here's a decent view of the cracks I've got to fix. So I've got one here, one here, one here, one here, and they shouldn't be too hard. I'll put some dust in there and some thin super glue, and some of these I may use some thick super glue. So that's where I am right now. Okay, I guess that's it for now.
Okay, I've got this pretty good sized bowl. I don't even know what the size, 8.5 inch radius or so. It's around 17 inches. It's not quite that big. But I've got the largest coring knife, and it has the Hunter tool carbide on it. So the outside radius is 8.4 inches approximately. I may be off a little bit, but I think that's what it is. And that's all about measuring a bunch of times and trying to get it right. I used this extension here to get my live center on here so that I won't have trouble with this flopping around. And it took me a while to get this set. The thickness of this bowl is what's driving this to not make a big giant bowl. It's going to make a, what is that radius there? About 5.5, 5 3/4 inch radius. So the inside, yeah, 5.5. So it'll be about 11 inch blank when I go through here. And it'll also be fairly shallow because my thickness from the bottom of my tenon to this surface here is 2.7 inches. So the thickness here is not extremely thick. Plus there's a little slope here, so I gotta be all careful about how I measure it. If I made this perfectly flat across here, it'd be a whole lot easier to do, but then I would have lost some bowl height here because this is sloped up a bit right there. So in any case, I'm not going to cut this today, but I got this extension on here, so this is clear. It's not hitting this, so nothing is obstructing the angle. But you can see it's going to cut starting right about there, and so I'm going to have a lot of extra bowl out here. The result is, I believe I'm going to have about a 1/2 inch thickness to the tenon base, so that should be good. And I'm before I get fully cut, I'm going to make sure it is. If it's not, I'll do the same thing I did the last time, which was cut this part way in and then chisel it out after that. I think I'm good, but as you can see, I've got a lot of turning to do when I get done here because my bowl is being cut way out here. Now, I've got this live edge, not live edge here, natural edge here and here. And this one in particular, if I run it around, you can barely see it, but that's really thin there. You can see it's thicker here, thin. So this live edge comes right to the edge. And so I have to remove some, but I'm not going to get all the way back to this edge. So this one big bowl will be pretty big, but the inside space, I can't make this a 1/2 inch. I have to make this a 1/2 inch, and so that'll be a little bit there. What else? In any case, I think I've got it set, but I'm a chicken here, and I'm going to let it sit for a while and think about it before I go, because I don't want to cut less out of here than I need or more than I need. I'd like to get as much here as I can. It's only going to be 1 3/4 of an inch thick or something when I get done. So it'll be a fairly shallow bowl. All this talk I had of measuring, doing a lot of measurement, and I fooled with measure. And then my son comes in and says, "Why don't you just do this?" And what he said was, take this off and measure to the chuck on the other side, and set this such that when it's over there, it's got the spacing you want for the bottom thickness, which is a 1/2 inch. And it's like, duh, why didn't I do that all along? So essentially I took this guy off, set the distance from this edge to the jaws of the chuck, and because that is the depth to the bottom of the bowl. So it should work perfect. So I've got a 1/2 inch of gap between the floor and where this tool is going. And then you can see I'm going to have to machine away quite a bit more here, because the tool is cutting from here and the inside, so I'm going to have to I'll cut at least 1 inch more off of this once I cut it out. But right now I want this to be as big as it can be
to make my bowl out of what the remainder that's cut out. Okay, here's my the plug that I pulled out, so I can hook the woodworm screw back on here, and put it here. Hook the woodworm screw back on, and I'll be able to form a tenon or a mortise on this side. You can see that it cut nicely. It did tear a little bit, right? I cut almost to the very end. I've got to be careful here. Hopefully, I'm going to end up relatively thin on the bottom because I think this went out a little bit further than my, because of a little bit of bending. But overall, I think it did pretty good. I'll be able to cut away some more on the inside here. And I think it'll turn out to be a nice big bowl and have one piece that I can insert. There won't be much new wood here, okay? By the time I get done here, that'll probably be just a little spot right here. So, turned out. Okay, here's my last, no, I guess I got one more. The next to last bowl from the wood isn't scraps. Now, there'll be a lot of other miscellaneous things I'll make from the smaller pieces that were in between the big round pieces. This is like number 7, I think. It has, it's 16 7/8 across, and the one I made just before this was 16 5/8. And I intended to core both of those bowls, but I wasn't able to core one of them. I just was having difficulty. I did get it to work on this bowl, so I'll have another bowl coming out that's made from the core of this bowl. Now it's shallow. This is almost 17 inches across. That bowl max is going to be like 11 or 12, and it'll be 2 inches tall maybe. In any case, this is rosewood. Like I said, this is a pretty big piece. It's nice. It's got 3 natural edge areas, and they are kind of driving the fact that this is thick here, because when you get to this natural edge here, this one's not the main one, but you can see it. Well, you can't see it, but it undercuts here, and so if I wasn't careful, I would have broke out and had to make the bowl smaller. Here's the one that really dominates it. Right there is maybe 3/8 of an inch, and you can see the edge is narrower here because it's got a thin layer. But it's a nice natural edge there. The heartwood's a nice color, and the new wood is kind of creamy, with some areas are yellow, and so it turns out pretty nice. How about looking at the bottom? And there's the bottom, and so you can easily see there's one of the live edge spots. Here's or not live edge, natural edge here, and then there's a little flat spot over in this corner that is the natural edge. Just barely, it's flat, right, like that much area right there. You can see I put super glue and sawdust in multiple cracks, and that was true of the other bowl too.
If you like what you see, please like and subscribe for more similar wood turning videos. Please comment on the video and I should respond. I make a video about once a week.